satyrs, and nymphs were believed to dwell in its depths. From the ancient oaks and beeches were hung many chains of tiny bronze bells which tinkled day and night as the wind swayed the branches. Some assert that the celebrated talking dove of Dodona was in reality a woman, because in Thessaly both prophetesses and doves were called Pleiades. It is supposed that the first temple of Dodona was erected by Deucalion and those who survived the Great Flood with him. For this reason the oracle at Dodona was considered the oldest in Greece. Continued. Near the cave of the oracle 2 fountains bubbled out of the earth within a few feet of each other. Those about to enter the cave drank first from these fountains, the waters of which seemed to possess peculiar occult properties. The first contained the water of forgetfulness, and all who drank thereof forgot their earthly sorrows. From the second fountain flowed the sacred water of Mnemosyne, or remembrance, for later it enabled those who partook of it to recall their experiences while in the cave. Though its entrance was marked by 2 brass obelisks, the cave, surrounded by a wall of white stones and concealed in the heart of a grove of sacred trees, did not present an imposing appearance. There is no doubt that those entering it passed through strange experiences, for they were obliged to leave at the adjacent temple a complete account of what they saw and heard while in the oracle. The prophecies were given in the form of dreams and visions, and were accompanied by severe pains in the head. Some never completely recovered from the after-effects of their delirium. The confused recital of their experiences was interpreted by the priests according to the question to be answered. While the priests probably used some unknown herb to produce the dreams or visions of the cavern, their skill in interpreting them bordered on the supernatural. Before consulting the oracle, it was necessary to offer a ram to the daemon of the cave, and the priest decided by hieromancy whether the time chosen was propitious and the sacrifice was satisfactory. The 7 Wonders of the World. Many of the sculptors and architects of the ancient world were initiates of the mysteries, particularly the Eleusinian rites. Since the dawn of time, the hewers of stone and the hewers of wood have constituted a divinely overshadowed caste. As civilization spread slowly over the earth, cities were built and deserted. Monuments were erected to heroes at present unknown. Temples were built to gods who lie broken in the dust of the nations they inspired. Research has proved not only that the builders of these cities and monuments and the sculptors who chiseled out the inscrutable faces of the gods were masters of their crafts, but that in the world today there are none to equal them. The profound knowledge of mathematics and astronomy embodied in ancient architecture, and the equally profound knowledge of anatomy revealed in Greek statuary, prove that the fashioners of both were master minds, deeply cultured in the wisdom which constituted the arcana of the mysteries. Thus was established the Guild of the Builders, progenitors of modern Freemasons. When employed to build palaces, temples or combs, or to carve statues for the wealthy, those initiated architects and artists concealed in their works the secret doctrine, so that now, long after their bones have returned to dust, the world realizes that those first artisans were indeed duly initiated and worthy to receive the wages of master masons. The 7 Wonders of the World, while apparently designed for divers reasons, were really monuments erected to perpetuate the arcana of the mysteries. They were symbolic structures, placed in peculiar spots, and the real purpose of their erection can be sensed only by the initiated. Eliphas Levi has noted the marked correspondence between these 7 wonders and the 7 planets. The 7 Wonders of the World were built by widows' sons in honor of the 7 planetary genii. Their secret symbolism is identical with that of the 7 seals of Revelation and the 7 churches of Asia. 1. The Colossus of Rhodes, a gigantic brass statue about 109 feet in height and requiring over 12 years to build, was the work of an initiated artist, Chares of Lindus. The popular theory, accepted for several hundred years, that the figure stood with 1 foot on each side of the entrance to the harbor of Rhodes and that full-rigged ships passed between its feet, has never been substantiated. Unfortunately, the figure remained standing but 56 years, being thrown down by an earthquake in 224 BC. The shattered parts of the Colossus lay scattered about the ground for more than 900 years, when they were finally sold to a Jewish merchant, who carried the metal away on the backs of 700 camels. Some believed that the brass was converted into munitions and others that it was made into drainage pipes. This gigantic gilded figure, with its crown of solar rays and its upraised torch, signified occultly the glorious Son-Man of the mysteries, the universal Savior. 2. The architect Ctesiphon, in the 5th century BC, submitted to the Ionian cities a plan for erecting a joint monument to their patron goddess, Diana. The place chosen was Ephesus, a city south of Smyrna. The building was constructed of marble. The roof was supported by 127 columns, each 60 feet high and weighing over 150 tons. The temple was destroyed by black magic about 356 BC, but the world fixes the odious crime upon the tool by means of which the destruction was accomplished, a mentally deranged man named Herostratus. It was later rebuilt, but the symbolism was lost. The original temple, designed as a miniature of the universe, was dedicated to the moon, the occult symbol of generation. 3. Upon his exile from Athens, Phidias, the greatest of all the Greek sculptors, went to Olympia in the province of Elis and there designed his colossal statue of Zeus, chief of the gods of Greece. There is not even an accurate description of this masterpiece now in existence. Only a few old coins give an inadequate idea of its general appearance. The body of the god was overlaid with ivory and the robes were of beaten gold. In one hand he is supposed to have held a globe supporting a figure of the goddess of victory, in the other a scepter surmounted by an eagle. The head of Zeus was archaic, heavily bearded, and crowned with an olive wreath. The statue was seated upon an elaborately decorated throne. As its name implies, the monument was dedicated to the spirit of the planet Jupiter, one of the 7 Logi who bow before the Lord of the Sun. 4. Eliphas Levi includes the Temple of Solomon among the 7 wonders of the world, giving it the place occupied by the Pharos, or Lighthouse, of Alexandria. The Pharos, named for the island upon which it stood, was designed and constructed by Sostratus of Cnidus during the reign of Ptolemy 283–247 BC. It is described as being of white marble and over 600 feet high. Even in that ancient day it cost nearly $1 million. Fires were lighted in the top of it and could be seen for miles out at sea. It was destroyed by an earthquake in the 13th century, but remains of it were visible until AD 1350. Being the tallest of all the wonders, it was naturally assigned to Saturn, the father of the gods and the true illuminator of all humanity. 5. The mausoleum at Halicarnassus was a magnificent monument erected by Queen Artemisia in memory of her dead husband, King Mausolus, from whose name the word mausoleum is derived. The designers of the building were Satyrus and Pythis, and 4 great sculptors were employed to ornament the edifice. The building, which was 114 feet long and 92 feet wide, was divided into 5 major sections, the senses, and surmounted by a pyramid, the spiritual nature of man. The pyramid rose in 24 steps, a sacred number, and upon the apex was a statue of King Mausolus in a chariot. His figure was 9 feet 9 inches tall. Many attempts have been made to reconstruct the monument, which was destroyed by an earthquake, but none has been altogether successful. This monument was sacred to the planet Mars and was built by an initiate for the enlightenment of the world. 6. The Gardens of Semiramis at Babylon, more commonly known as the Hanging Gardens, stood within the palace grounds of Nebuchadnezzar, near the Euphrates River. They rose in a terrace-like pyramid and on the top was a reservoir for the watering of the gardens. They were built about 600 BC, but the name of the landscape artist has not been preserved. They symbolized the plains of the invisible world, and were consecrated to Venus as the goddess of love and beauty. 7. The Great Pyramid was supreme among the temples of the mysteries. In order to be true to its astronomical symbolism, it must have been constructed about 70,000 years ago. It was the tomb of Osiris, and was believed to have been built by the gods themselves, and the architect may have been the immortal Hermes. It is the monument of Mercury, the messenger of the gods, and the universal symbol of wisdom and letters. Insert. Trophonius of Albadia. From Historia Diarum Fatidicorum. Trophonius and his brother Agamedes were famous architects. While building a certain treasure vault, they contrived to leave one stone movable so that they might secretly enter and steal the valuables stored there. A trap was set by the owner, who had discovered the plot, and Agamedes was caught,